Sean Murphy-Bunting getting injured is obviously a bad thing. No one wants to see someone have an injury in any capacity that maybe affects them in the long term or doesn't allow them to get a job in the NFL later on. But at the end of the day, the fact is this: Sean Murphy-Bunting is out. Hope he gets healthier. I don't want players getting injured. Now that I've said my piece on that, we can move on. And dummies won't say, oh, look at you rooting for an injury. No, that's stupid. Sean Murphy-Bunting, let's just start here. The Phoenix Suns losing Sean Murphy-Bunting. The Arizona Cardinals losing Sean Murphy-Bunting last week. I mean, guys, let's just call it what it is. Not one person who watched the Cardinals last year was like, oh man, already it's starting. This team can't catch a break. Everyone collectively was like, we'll be fine. Sean Murphy-Bunting last year wasn't great. Towards the end of the season, he was better. And I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty disappointed with how Sean Murphy-Bunting played under the Arizona Cardinals. They got him for a fine deal. I thought he was going to be able to be a very capable cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals, add leadership to this team. He won a Super Bowl before. I'm really disappointed with how the Sean Murphy-Bunting tenure with the Arizona Cardinals has kind of crash landed. I thought he'd be better, but forget about that. This is why you should be more than ecstatic to have Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon leading this organization. The Arizona Cardinals did not get flat-footed. They knew about this before the draft. And what they do, let's keep it quiet. Sean, we'll help you out. We'll help you rehab. We'll get you back to 100%. We're not going to nickel and dime you for your contract that clearly was an injury that wasn't sustained while being a member of the Arizona Cardinals. We'll figure that out with you. We're going to need you to be quiet. And that obviously leads into the fact of this is why they're bringing in, this is why they brought in Asante Samuel for a visit. This is why they're still in the market for potentially a cornerback that they could add to this team. I've argued Jalen Ramsey. That's not me saying Jalen Ramsey's awesome. That never came to my mind. Talking about Jalen Ramsey and saying bring him to the Cardinals. You have the money. It's a 1-year contract, and I think he'd be good here. Leadership, Cardinal, former Super Bowl winner. I would love to have Jalen Ramsey on this team. I don't really understand the argument of why it wouldn't work out. It's a 1-year contract. Who cares? Everyone talks about, $20+ million this year. Yeah, it's 1 year. It doesn't count against the cap next year. Who cares? But that's neither here nor there. The youth movement is here in Arizona. And Sean Murphy-Bunting getting injured, although no one likes to see a player get injured, there can be some good that comes out of it. And that's this. I didn't want to see Will Johnson back up Sean Murphy-Bunting. Because here's why. Will Johnson is obviously going to be a guy that's going to take a couple of weeks to be awesome. The hardest adjustment in the NFL is outside of quarterback is cornerback. You have to go from defending Panera Bread State wide receivers and shutting down on the occasion a Marvin Harrison Jr. or a Chris Olave or those level wide receivers, but you're not doing that week in and week out. Some weeks you can just kind of phone it in. You can forget about the technique because you're so incredibly skilled. I want Will Johnson to work through the issues that he's going to have as a cornerback in the NFL as a rookie. He's going to have them. That's just you look at Max Melton last year. Max Melton wasn't awesome coming out of the gate. He was better than I thought he was going to be. Starling Thomas for a full year. I hated Starling Thomas. And now I'm like, that's a pretty good depth piece. It takes time in the NFL. And for this Cardinals team that I do think is going to be a team to be reckoned with this year, I think they're going to be a playoff team. People love to say that I'm negative about this team. No, I'm honest. This team hasn't won anything in a decade plus. You want to have sugar plums and rainbows all year long? There's a lot of fan pages. This ain't one of them. I'm here to hold the team accountable. I'm not here to tell them how great they are. You go do that somewhere else. That's not my personality. Will Johnson is going to struggle. And this team as a whole is not going to. I believe Will Johnson has the chance to be one of the best cornerbacks in Cardinals history. I think that highly of him. But to start the season, he's likely going to struggle. And I don't want anyone going after him for it. The first 4 weeks, when you're getting hit with star wide receiver after star wide receiver that would be the best player on most college teams, I get it. I want him to see those players. I want him to get the reps, because later on in the season, it ain't going to be time when you're dealing with that 6-week gauntlet to end the season to have rookie mistakes. He's got to be ready to go by then. So Sean Murphy-Bunting getting injured, yes, although it's, so Sean Murphy-Bunting getting injured, of course, injuries, you never want to see them happen. But there can be some good that goes with this. Or there's can be some good that comes from this injury. And that's this. The Cardinals need to just start the full-on youth movement. If the Cardinals hit on Walter Nolan and Will Johnson, your defense has a chance to hit a level that you haven't seen since the James Bettcher, Todd Bowles defense Cardinals. Just bad mother effer after bad mother effer on this team. And whether it's Will Johnson or Walter Nolan or Calais Campbell or Dalvin Tomlinson or Jordan Birch or whoever it is on this team, Baron Browning, Zaven Collins, you've got a chance for a real youth movement here for this Cardinals team. When you insert Will Johnson into that starting role because Sean Murphy-Bunting can no longer go, you're talking about Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, Max Melton, Walter Nolan, Jordan Birch, Baron Browning, Rabbit Taylor Demerson. That's 5 or 6 young guys who could have a starting role on this team as early as the middle of the season. No one thinks that Rabbit Taylor Demerson can't beat out Jalen Thompson. If Birch works out, he could be the edge rusher for this team. Sean Murphy-Bunting going out and inserting Will Johnson, injuries are bad, but good can come out of this. You could really start the youth movement for this Arizona Cardinals defense. You're talking about a defense led by a head coach and defensive coordinator who understand defense. Jonathan Gannon's bread and butter is the cornerback position. Max Melton and Starling Thomas shouldn't be this good. But under Jonathan Gannon, who started out as a DB coach, they figured it out. They worked it out through those guys. And I'm so ecstatic to see what you can get in Will Johnson that I want him starting right away. Now we don't have to deal with the nonsense of Will Johnson competing for a starting role with Sean Murphy-Bunting and then giving it to him, well, because he's the veteran. No, I don't want to do that. The better player now might be Will Johnson. And when you add in Garrett Williams and Rabbit Taylor Demerson and Max Melton and Starling Thomas and Walter Nolan and Jordan Birch and whoever it is, you've got a real youth movement going in Arizona. Roll with that. I don't want to talk about Sean Murphy-Bunting potentially starting for this team, and I know you don't either. So yeah, it's bad and injuries suck and no one wants to see a guy go down for a long period of time. But Sean Murphy-Bunting will be just fine. He'll get another job with someone else at some point. But what the Arizona Cardinals need is youth and promise. It's a youth movement now and a time for the Arizona Cardinals. It's not time for Sean Murphy-Bunting to go in there and get reps. You have a chance for your own Legion of Boom. But it starts out with putting all the young guys out there. You've got some bad mother effers, man. And you've seen promise from Rabbit Taylor Demerson last year. You see the slot corner ability from Garrett Williams. We all think Walter Nolan was a steal at 16. We like Jordan Birch. Max Melton was good last year. Starling Thomas behind Max Melton was also good. Add Will Johnson to that fold, and you've got a real defensive unit that could be top 10 this year. And it's a youth movement that you haven't had since the Todd Bowles, James Bettcher, led defensive Cardinals. You just haven't had that. So Sean Murphy-Bunting going out for God knows what reason. I mean, I can't believe you sign a massive contract and you get injured doing something that wasn't a part of the team facilities. That's just a boneheaded move. But you wish the guy a speedy recovery. You don't want the dude to be down forever. That's an awful thing to think as well. But the Cardinals are just fine. And it goes to show you, under the leadership of Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, just how fine they are. If this would have happened and they didn't go get Will Johnson, you and I would have thought the same thing, like, oh my goodness. You knew Sean Murphy-Bunting was injured and you didn't do something about it? But no, it's not what they did. Kept Sean Murphy-Bunting quiet, said they'll figure out a way to take care of him. Imagine if people knew that Sean Murphy-Bunting was out. Maybe Will Johnson doesn't fall that far. Maybe someone trades up ahead of you. The possibilities are endless. But because of the leadership of the general manager and head coach, that didn't happen. I would say you're better in a position than you were before after the Sean Murphy-Bunting injury. And with a plethora of young guys, the youth movement is starting in Arizona. And it's going to be nasty. And with all these guys on little contracts, small contracts, rookie deals, there's a chance for this defense to be special this year. And under the coaching of Jonathan Gannon, whose bread and butter is the defensive back position, oh man, get excited. Get excited. And it's nice to know as Cardinals fans that Sean Murphy-Bunting going out, everyone was just like, whatever. Wish him a speedy recovery. Don't want him to get hurt, but whatever. Whatever. So with that being said, guys, the Cardinals are in a just fine position. And Will Johnson now has to be thrust in that role to shake off the rookie experience to be ready for that stretch run late in the season.